We have some more information that's now trickling in. What we're now learning is that after the Supreme Court urged all doctors to call off their strike and go back on duty, the AIIMS doctors have now decided to pay heed to this advice that came to the fore, the directive that came to the fore from the Supreme Court. At least one hospital for now, doctors at AIIMS here in the national capital have decided to go back to work. They've called off their strike, which has gone on for close to 10 days now. Remember, protests in fact have been taking place outside several hospitals across the country. Even here in the national capital, AIIMS RML doctors were protesting both outside their hospitals and at Jantar Mantar as well. What we're now learning is that at least one body, one organization of doctors of AIIMS that are represented by this body, they have now decided to call off this strike and go back to work. The Supreme Court had asked all of these doctors to call off the strike, to go back to work, because it is the people at the end of the day that are suffering. West Bengal police and West Bengal government was also asked to not take any coercive action against any protesting doctor, but at the same time the onus was on the doctors to call off this strike and go back to work. Ananya, if you're still with us, this was something that the Supreme Court had also observed, isn't it? They had, both in the last hearing and in this hearing, asked the doctors to go back to work.
Well, definitely, it has been a constant call from the Chief Justice of India, clearly going on to suggest to these doctors that they should return, in fact, to their duties, because they are the healers, and various patients are the ones who are suffering because of the doctor's strike, and that is something that the Supreme Court was concerned about. Very clearly, the Supreme Court also directing today that, to all the states, that no kind of a coercive action should be taken against these protesting doctors, and at this particular point of time, they need to be assured of, and hence no coercive action will be taken against the doctors, following which these doctors at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences Delhi, or the AIIMS Delhi, have tried to made a move to call off the strike. And very clearly, after this assurance, the Supreme Court has been constantly saying, and if you remember the first day of this hearing, when the Supreme Court had taken a suo motu, it had clarified that this is not only a matter with regards to the death and rape of, in fact, a young resident doctor at the RGKarCollege Medical College. Definitely, that is very, very serious. But the larger issue remains to be of, in fact, the safety of our healers at their workplace, that is the hospitals and the medical centers of the medical colleges. And that is something that has been the paramount reason why the Supreme Court had to take suo motu cognizance, in fact, forming a national task force. And finally, now at least somebody taking a step forward and calling off their strike.
Right, stay on with us. Sharon, AIIMS doctors, that one body has decided to call off their strike. Does this mean that other hospitals like the RML will also follow suit?
Well, right now we are getting the information is that FIMA, which is another association of the doctor, meeting is undergoing. They will be in fact deciding whether they will be continuing their protest or not. At 3:30 is the meeting that has started. So we will have to wait for a confirmation from FIMA. But when it comes to other hospitals like AIIMS and Safdarjung, they have in fact decided to call off the strike. Because remember, a directive from their respective hospital directors have also been sent to these doctors who were on strike, saying that they have to come back to work because the medical work at the hospital is getting affected. When it comes to the OPDs, around 90% of the surgeries have been affected. And now after Supreme Court also, in fact, coming up with the observation that they need to, the doctors need to go back, AIIMS has called off the strike. We have to wait for other associations to know what is going to be their decision, whether they will be calling off the strike or not. FIMA, which is a meeting which is undergoing, they will be coming up with their decision in an hour or so.
Right, do keep a track of that. For the moment, Sharon, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front.